left in regulation has given the Bengals their first lead all day.
Wilson going end zone, Robinson, perfect throw, touchdown New York. On fourth down, 32 yards to Wan'Dale Robinson.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group, QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Honored and pleased that you're spending part of your day, whether it's live now anywhere in the country or perhaps tonight on a podcast or tomorrow morning. There's a lot in here. So Cutter was Cutter. He was about the way I expected. I thought he played really well, and we'll find out against South Carolina if this will continue. And by the way, I had a couple people come at me and go, Cutler, why didn't Stoops say after the game that it's Cutler's job? He can't. He just can't. Now, use a little common sense for those who are upset. Mark Stoops shouldn't and wouldn't, after what happened, come out and say in the press conferences he's a starter. That's just BS if you're a head coach. Now, that doesn't mean some head coach wouldn't do it. I will defend Stoops like crazy. You got to talk to Zach. You got to have a conversation with your offensive coordinator. You have to have a conversation with Cutter. Seriously, you have to do those things. Yeah, come on, put yourself in Zach's shoes. And you find out in a press conference you lost your job. That's BS. And I think Stoops was just being respectful. That's what I think. Now, I got to tell you, if Zach is the start against South Carolina, I think that would be horrendous. I really do. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not worried about it. I can't imagine in my wildest dreams Stoops going back to Zach. I just can't. And if he does, he does. And I got to tell you, even if he does, not saying anything after the game was the right thing to do. It's how you treat people. How the hell would you feel if you were the starting quarterback and you found out in the press conference? And I can see somebody say, well, Cutler, that's just life. Those things happen. That doesn't mean you do it. There's a right way to handle yourself. And I'm sure that's why Stoops did it. I really am. And if I'm wrong, I'm happy to say it. It's a classy way to handle it. He's actually really good with his players. Okay? So just consider that for a moment. It's Cutter's job. Period. The other clip, the third one, was Josh Hines Allen, how Kentucky changed his life. One of the reasons why Allen is so good is because of his heart, his soul, his intensity. Come on, he wasn't even 190 pounds when he showed up Kentucky. His work ethic is legendary. Do I think there have been others at Kentucky and Alabama and other places who could have been that special but didn't work as hard as him? Yeah. Plus, come on, his kid got to ring the bell after having cancer. He's having an unbelievable year. That's really, really good. How about Browning? Jimmy, did you have any idea he could leap like that?
I had to make sure it wasn't a tush heist, that they didn't like hoist him up to make him go up that high. I mean, he's got some hops.
I bet he can dunk. If you can jump like that, woo-wee. So the big news of the day in the NFL is that Burrow will be out at least 3 months. So when I look at that, because of the turf toe, I'm writing him off for the season. You know, that's why you don't pay a quarterback $50 million a year. And by the way, I had nothing against paying Joe Burrow $50 million a year because that's the going rate at the time and those kinds of things. And the Bengals are scrambling, trying to find another quarterback to come in. I wonder if Logan Woodside will get a shot. Isn't that pretty logical, Jimmy? Because he's been in the system multiple times and he's not with the job. To me, he's the obvious person to bring in. And I'm biased. He's a kid from Central Kentucky. But I need to look at a list of how many guys are out there. Maybe, Jimmy, you have. There's a whole bunch of guys out there that can actually play in the NFL. But you got a second issue. The issue is you got to learn the damn system. Okay? You really do. So I would like to think that it'd be Logan Whiteside. That's just it. To Wan'Dale Robinson. Jimmy, you will remember, because I did this so many times. When Robinson showed up to the Giants, he established himself as a possession receiver. And there was a lot of good in that because they trusted him on 3rd and 5 to get 6 yards. Whether he had a dive, whether he went to his knees before the ball is thrown to hide because he's short, he did all kinds of little things to really ingratiate himself into the coaching staff. And how many times did I scream and yell, oh my gosh, you're labeling this kid as a possession receiver when he can go deep. I screamed many, many times. And I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with the Giants? In practice, you would think they allow him to go deep occasionally, but they wouldn't do it. And as a rookie, remember, well, he ripped his knee and it took a while and all that kind of stuff. But basically, as a rookie playing wise, to establish yourself as the possession receiver for an NFL team is actually very impressive. It's not what he wanted, but it's really impressive. He got a lot of first downs for 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, whatever the hell it was. And every time he would do it, I'd come on the show Monday and scream, would you please throw the ball deep? On that 4th down play, he blew by that guy so fast, it's not even funny. Oh, yeah, he only had 142 yards receptions and eight receptions for 122 yards. Excuse me, let's try this again. 8 catches for 142 yards. And I'm not surprised. And I'm not biased. I'm really not. He is that good. He's that good. And I think it's great. He's finally getting a chance. Let me set up the show. I forgot to tease Tristan Ferris. So, Jimmy, in the break, if you have his email, give me a thumbs up. If not, I will send him an invitation. I have 2 different lists. Tristan Ferris will join us at 1:30. Tristan, I apologize for not putting you on the tease with all the Facebook that I tease the show and Instagram and Twitter. My bad. He bagged John Wall for an interview. We'll play a couple sound bites. It was really good. And I hope I get more people to listen to it for 2 reasons. 1, it was really good. And 2, to help Tristan out. He's a really good dude. So he'll be at 1:30. Jeremy Caudle is returning. Wounded dog. Former Studley defensive lineman for Kentucky. We're in the football season. That'll be at 1 o'clock. And then the rambunctious one, Kenny Rice, will be at 12:30. And we have a ton of sound. Jimmy's fingers have to be sore from all the sound bites I threw at him. And some of these bites, and if Jimmy wants to give me a dirty look, I deserve it. I probably threw more stuff at Jimmy when he walked in Monday than any other day. But a lot of the sound will handle for a few days based upon the fact that Kentucky has a bye. Let me mention the bye. I did not predict that Vandy would beat South Carolina. I am not surprised. And I said a number of times that Vandy will be better than people think. And it looks like South Carolina is not as good as people thought. Can Kentucky beat South Carolina? Yep, they could win or lose. Well, that sounds wishy-washy. No. Not really, if you think about it, because if Kentucky goes to Georgia, I don't think they can win. If Kentucky goes to Alabama, I don't think they can win. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's pretty simple. But can Kentucky play either at South Carolina or if it happened to be here and beat them? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Now, I was bragging on the 4 running backs. At this point, you have to knock Wilcox off for obvious reasons. 4 running backs for quite a while. And I was sitting with my partner, Dr. John Wong, and my book Cut to the Chase, our book Cut to the Chase, and close to the half, and I'm telling him, hey, you got to run Patterson. Why are you not running Patterson? It's a long season. The kid worked his tail off. I heard he was in great shape. Well, they finally ran Patterson. You don't run him, he ain't staying. Now, I don't mean to bring a fear factor into coaches, but that's something all coaches have to put into effect. I'm not saying he should be in front of Dowdell, who's got a bad thigh right now, and supposedly he's going to be okay. Or Seth McGowan, who's great. He's a great running. He really is a great running back. Okay, but he's got to play. You need 3 or 4 running backs, and there's no reason he shouldn't have gotten some snaps already this year. But I'll tell you what, 29, 12, and 10, that spin move he put on, he had 80 yards and 13 carries. He needs to touch the ball as, well, either number 2 or number 3, you would anticipate based upon what Kentucky said that Dowdell should be ready for South Carolina. But the truth is, I have no clue, nor am I going to make a prediction. Don't know. but he's got to play. You don't play him, he leaves. That sounds too cold and harsh. Well, I went to Kentucky. I would say, shut up. It's not you. It's not me. Okay? These are these kids. And this kid could have left, and he stayed and has said all the right things. Plus, how about this? He's got talent. He's got talent. It's a hell of a running back room. It really is. Let me give John Hale a little love in his column. And John was going to join us this week, but he's doing something much better than joining me. He's on vacation, which is smart. Think about it. You got a bye week. You're a beat person covering the team. You get the hell out of town. But in his column, UK is giving up 1 sack a game versus basically 3 last year. And he didn't put this in there, but it seems pretty obvious. The quarterback ain't getting hit like it was last year. It's not even close. It's not even close. And they're averaging over 200 yards a game on the ground versus 145 last year, 214 to 145. It's a huge change. It's a huge change. I haven't gotten more excited because of Saturday or less excited because of Saturday. Actually, the only thing that makes me less excited because of Saturday, I thought the defense, some spots were good, but they got problems in the secondary. They just do. You got some injuries. DJ Waller, he's been out a couple of weeks. Hopefully he'll be back for South Carolina. You're saying it's just the DB. It's big. He's a good cornerback. He really is. And they ended up with a true freshman, basically the 5th guy on their list, if I had right, named Grant Gayton. And I got to tell you the truth, outside of seeing his name on the list, I had no idea. And a true freshman, it's amazing. You got to say true freshman because there's so many redshirt freshmen. He did a nice job in the second half. And Brad White, who was ticked off about his defense, complimented him. He just complimented him, which is good, which is very good. We'll throw a couple tidbits, and then we're going to play some sound before Kenny Rice joins us at 12:30. JQ, did you see where UK basketball put out on Twitter that, there's no contact yet, but he's doing some stuff on the court. And it sounds like he's doing more on the court. So, and I stand by what I said last week. If you can do deep knee bends with your bad knee, with all that weight on his shoulders, you're progressing nicely. I mean, the stuff that they put out last week about him jumping and the deep knee bends on his bad knee, very, very, very impressive. Really impressive. And so I don't know when the hell the kid's going to play. I stand by what I said. Caution, 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 caution. I would not rush this kid. I would actually, this is me, and it might be wrong. Let's say he could play, the doctors say he can play December 1st. I'm just throwing a date out there. I'd probably say, shouldn't we wait 2 more weeks? What does it hurt? What does it hurt? It really doesn't for the kid's future. And remember this. How many times have you seen a kid come back from an injury in that first game? He got the adrenaline, and you're going crazy. You have a really good game, and then it takes a week or so to get into the rhythm of playing again. And so whenever this kid comes back, I have basically a 2-week to a month rule. It's a pretty serious injury this kid is bouncing back from. And you can do all the sprints you want in the pool for the knee, and you can do all the running on the side when you're able to. Okay? It ain't game footage. It ain't game speed. It's different from practice. You breathe differently. It's just different. Different. So when this kid comes back, I'm going to show more patience. I think it's the proper thing to do. It really is. I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville, but Liam Cohn already has problems. So Trevor Lawrence is the starting quarterback, and he's been labeled by some to be a bust because he got the big dollars, and he really hasn't played up to those big dollars. And oftentimes, teams are in trouble. You get to the point where a guy got to get paid, and if you don't pay him, he's ticked and leaves. And sometimes you pay a guy when you're not sure if he's worth it, but you don't have a choice because you have no one backing him up. I'm not saying that was the case with Trevor Lawrence, but I am saying there are people that think he has underachieved. Well, there was a camera shot where he kind of blew off Lee and Cone. Ooh. Ooh. I would venture to say that Cone and Lawrence will have some private conversations about that. Neil Middleton, former news director at WYMT, put this up on Facebook. Today's 24 years since we lost Kaywood Ledford. And Jimmy, unless you've heard some old tapes, he literally, not because he did Kentucky or not because I'm standing in Lexington, Kentucky, has nothing to do with it, was one of the greatest announcers of all time. And I've said this so many times. I just wanted to have his voice for one day. One day. And it wasn't just basketball and football. He was great at horse racing. I mean, everything he did. And he could have left, by the way, but he's a Kentucky boy. And I've shared this story before. When he retired, no question, one of the top 10 stories that I ever did, he actually fixed up the house he was born in. And Jimmy, was a tiny house. And Kaywood was very successful. And he kept on building on it and building on it and building on it. And it was a beautiful home. And I've never seen a home in my life that had so many pictures. Huge pictures. He had pictures in the laundry room from Muhammad Ali, this, that, and the other, because before he basically had his own company with a great deal of help from Jim Host, he was also the sports anchor at WHAS in Louisville while he was doing Kentucky. And so he was big on pictures, never seen a home like that. And it was beautiful. And we spent the day together. And I cherished that day to spend that much time. And Francis, his wife, was lovely. And the line I always like to tell from that day, you know, on the one hand, he would say Rupp told him that if the team stunk, that he should just call it like you see it early on in his career. Yet he was always so classy how he did it. And I threw this question out there, and I'll never forget it because, you know, normally I have a pretty good idea what the answer is going to be. And sometimes you're really shockingly surprised. Not a little surprised, but shockingly surprised. And I said, Kaywood, is there anything you're going to, you're not going to, Kaywood, is there anything you're not going to miss? He goes, yeah, the trips to Starkville. And I understood it. And I'm not ripping the state of Mississippi or people down there. You know, a lot of people in Starkville probably don't want to go to New York. They just don't. And that's okay. It really is. Let's go to Michaela Epps. Give me a thumbs up, Jimmy, when you have it. That was quick. I love these two sound bites. You know, daughter of Anthony. Put the basketball program on her back. Tough, kind, tough. And she didn't grow up with a silver spoon. Great basketball player, and she talks about in clip number 1 how she grew up.
I grew up shooting a pair of socks into a metal clothes hanger at the top of my grandmother's closet. I played on the side of my project complex with boys for 2 to 3 years endlessly, day in and day out. I started playing middle school basketball in the 5th grade, high school basketball for 7 years. Yes, I played high school basketball for 7 years. Starting in the 6th grade, sacrificing my entire summer for those long AAU road trips and summers while my friends chose partying and living their lives at 16 like most other young adolescents would. I remember the sacrifices I made that led me to be standing here in front of you today. I remember them all. But that's what life is about, right? Sacrifices.
That's a great soundbite. And I stand by this. There are other people that could have been as good as Michaela. And if you think there's a negative comment towards Michaela, you got rocks in your head. But she just wanted it more. It's pretty simple. Socks, sacrifices. Socks, sacrifices, playing with the guys. I love the soundbite. I absolutely love the soundbite. And clip number 2, and you could feel Michaela's emotion and passion in her voice, which is normal when you're getting an honor getting into the UK Athletics Hall of Fame. Clip number 2 is about a thank you.
I want to thank my dad for the point guard basketball gene and showing me the rich traditions and pride in Kentucky basketball literally since I was born. I'm pretty sure I'm the only UK student athlete that ever attended their own father's senior day.
Yeah. Senior day. Pretty good. Pretty good. Happy for Michaela. Happy for Anthony. Anthony, I have always said, is one of the most underrated Kentucky basketball players because he played with so many superstars. He at times got overlooked, and his job was to make everybody else look better. And I always thought he could have played pro ball as a backup in the NBA. But sometimes when you have so many good players, you get overlooked. But if you really think about it, he was kind of flawless, and tough. Super, super, super tough. Super tough. We're going to go to Cutler. We're jumping around as to the sound bites that I like best. Even though clip one was in the open, it's short, and I want to play it again. Here's Cutler Bowley.
It was good. It was good. It was fun. I had a lot of fun out there today.
He had a lot of fun. So he talks about his line, clip number 2, and he talks about his tight ends who caught some touchdown passes, and they just happened to be his roommates.
There were 5 guys up front do a lot of work. I don't know if there's another 5 guys I'd rather have in front of me in the country, but those dudes can ball, and they give me a lot of time, and the dudes on the outside, we got weapons all over the place, so it's really easy being out there with all those guys for sure.
What is it between you and the tight ends? Feels like y'all got a pretty good thing going.
Yeah, I got to hit my roommates for a touchdown tonight, both of them, but that was just kind of how it was. Kind of the ball just came to him. I knew the play was cold, and that's where the read took me. I was just happy I was able to give him a chance to make a play.
Does that mean you don't have to pay rent this month?
Yeah, probably.
This thing you like throwing the ball?
No, Josh and Willie are 2 good dudes, but I mean, yeah, we joke about it.
Yeah, they joke about it, and why not? By the way, I had no idea that Josh Caddis could catch a ball like that and keep his feet in bounds while he's falling out of bounds. We've never seen it. Had no idea. And the first ball that he caught, I loved it for 2 reasons. Cutler threw it up where only he could get it. And as the ball's in the air, I'm going, can he get it? Very often when I'm watching a game, I don't know why. I'm kind of lucky this way. Very often it really slows down for me while the play is happening. I can't explain it. I actually think it's kind of a gift that I didn't ask for, but I'm very appreciative. And if you can do that, bless you. And I'm not being obnoxious that I can do something you can't, but I can. And so as the ball is coming down, I'm thinking, can he get that? And there were 2 guys around him. And this is what I liked for a couple reasons. One, when you play South Carolina, there might be 2 guys around him. So often when you beat an Eastern Michigan and it's an athlete versus an athlete and you're that much better, the spacing, if you have a lot, really doesn't help you when you play a South Carolina because they have better athletes. Not ripping Eastern Michigan, but that's the reality, and you know it. So there were 2 guys around him, and he just went up and got the damn ball. That was an NFL catch. And I'm not sure the other catch wasn't really good, too, that was called incomplete. How about this? Jimmy, one of my deep throats just sent me a text. You ready for this?
Yes.
I trust this source. Caddis is on the jug machine catching balls every day at 6:15 a.m. I just got to chill. Thank you, Deep Throat. I owe you. Wow. That reminds me of Josh Hines Allen, 7 o'clock in the morning. There was video that was out there years ago, and he's not just on the treadmill. He's sprinting on the damn treadmill. Jimmy's sprinting. 6:15 in the morning, Josh Caddis. And by the way, he's the world's greatest kid. As a matter of fact, you know what, Jimmy? They could use his father in his prime, the Bengals offensive line. They really could. I was really ticked they didn't fix their guard position. Gee, what did his dad play for the Bengals? Guard. Wow. Jimmy, I just got a chill from that note by Deep Throat. This kid is on the jug machine 6:15 in the morning. And I got to tell you, I have a feel for players. I'm right a ton. I'm wrong sometimes. This is the way it is. I've been doing this forever. And I've never thought of Caddis as an NFL prospect until Saturday. He's calm. He's tough enough. He's smart. He's been bred to be a football player. Comes from a great family, world's greatest kid. But, Jimmy, you saw that catch when he was going out of bounds, didn't you?
Yeah, both of those catches were NFL caliber catches. Like when you see that in tight end prospects, there's some good ones every year, but when you don't have the Brock Bowers coming out or the Tyler Warrens coming out, those are two types of plays. Now it'll help when you do that against SEC teams. But he was at SEC Media Day this year. Stoops brought him there partly because of who he is off the field. But I think that the coaches have seen this with him.
Okay, that's the kind of play you're going to agree with this that Jamar Chase makes all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you can't think of, just real quick, off the top of your head, 5 tight ends who can make that catch in the NFL.
Yeah, there's probably right at 5 that can consistently, you could say they're going to make that catch.
Okay, so he did something that I almost threw out a 4-letter word in the press box because I was going, holy blank. That was unfreaking believable. So he's an NFL prospect. Kenny Rice is in the waiting room, so we will do this. You know what I don't know? And I saw it at the time, and I don't remember. I wonder if Deep Throat knows what he runs the 40 in. I want to tell you, he's a class act. He's a class act, and that catch and hands. Whew. So I'm excited. A lot more about the game coming up with Kenny Rice. Let's put it this way. Is that the best catch we've seen from Kentucky? Any Kentucky player so far this year? I don't even think it's close. I don't even think there's a 1A. I don't think there's a 1B. I think it's so obvious so far. So far. We'll see. There's nothing close, is there?
No, the only one that would be close is I think it was Law down the sideline. He ended up being ruled out of bounds, but that would have been a better catch. But, yeah, since it was ruled no catch, yeah, that's 1 and 2, I think, both the Caddises.
Yeah, that was a sweet play by Law. It's too bad he couldn't stay in bounds. No question about it. Couldn't remember you, Jimmy. That's why you're about 50 years younger than me.
I can remember random catches that receivers make. It's hardwired in my brain.
Yeah, Al McCoy's coming up on Fridays. We have to do 2 things. 1, play tap because the Bengals are done. Excuse me, the Reds are done. And 2, we need to play talking baseball. Boy, the Reds choked. I don't know why I thought about that, but they just choked. I counted them out a couple weeks ago, and then they teased us again. Hey, your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Now, this is kind of crazy. Right now, the Bengals are 5.5-point underdogs against the Vikings. It's going to change during the week. Everybody knows that Joe Burrow is not playing for maybe the rest of the season, 3 months or more. And I got to tell you, I thought it'd been higher as far as the Bengals being the underdog. That's me. Let's see how it changed during the week. And I got no feel, but, Bengals won the game with Browning, and he did a really good job, except he threw 3 picks. And, Jimmy, I don't know if you can think of the last time anybody threw 3 interceptions and their team won. That's what happened yesterday as the Bengals came back with seconds to go to win the game. It was amazing kind of comeback. So right now, the Bengals are underdogs by 5.5 on DraftKings. Hey, new customers, this is for you. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 in NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code LEXSports. That's LEXSports to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Kentucky only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only, and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time only. Kenny Rice. I bet he's rambunctious today. Always love talking to Kenny. Coming up next at 1 o'clock, Jeremy Caudle, 1:30, Tristan Ferris. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Down, set, hack, corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clutch Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I wish I could say I gave this great thought and internal constipation with coming up with this. And Kenny, out of respect to you, because we're two old goats, well, I'm an older goat, you're an old goat. Sorry, Kenny, it is what it is. I just feel like, and this is a compliment, and you know me well enough to know that, I mean it this way. I think rambunctious, because you have, now I'm being serious now. You know, you've seen a lot of people when they get past 50 in the business, they kind of lose an edge and that kind of stuff. You haven't lost it. You have a rambunctiousness that I like and respect. So I don't know, I'm just typing the T's out, and all of a sudden I'm looking at him going, did I just write the word rambunctious with Kenny Rice with the T's? Oh, I'm going to leave that.
I liked it, Alan. Good to be back with you, my friend. And I was quite impressed you came up with the word.
So was I. And how about this? I shouldn't say this. I'm a terrible speller, and I didn't even need spell check. So I was really impressed with that more than coming up with the word.
You know, the worst thing is when you text someone and it does the autocorrect. I hate the autocorrect. The things I've texted to people that are important, like business stuff. And the autocorrect comes up and it goes off in a different direction.
I've had that problem too, and I wrestle with this with internal constipation. Do I let the auto text fix me, or should it be my normal screw-ups? And I decided the normal screw-ups are better than the auto text because my family's used to my lousy spelling.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember my dad taught me when I was a boy how to read a map. I was so proud of myself. First time I went to Los Angeles, I think it was like 1984, 85, I think. And I could read a map. I landed at LAX and they took us in a bus and I had to go all the way over to Alamo Rental. That's all I could afford with Alamo Rental. But I had a map and I went all over the place. I was reading a map and driving. And now I just type in GPS. I don't even know how to read a map anymore. I'm so lazy. I just type in GPS. No wonder kids spelling and map reading and all these things that we thought of when we were kids are just long gone. Much like those that grew up in the Bear Bryant era, for the two that might still be alive out there, remember when Kentucky had great football. And that's not even to knock the current football, because once you go about 80 years when you had great football, it's just it's time to just realize that at best you're going to have okay football.
I wonder seriously how many of those folks are around. I'm going to do a little looking.
My dad's one of the last I know. I'm not saying he is the last, but he and John Y. Brown, we had lunch with the governor, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and they were discussing those days.
Yeah.
Of when Pirelli was here and Bob Gaines and those guys. And once the program gets that far removed, it's time to say, possibly, yeah, it's been a long time, which is not now, because that brings up, because everybody gets all excited. Oh, who's going to be the new coach? How about let's the season play out? I don't think it's fair to the players. Forget Mark. Stoops making a lot of money. He'll be okay. But I just think it's so unfair to the players and even some on the staff to be discussing what might be and could be and all that. There was a time going over this 80-year desolate period for UK with a few glimpses that if you said there's going to be a coach come in here and in 12 years he's going to take them to 8 bowl games and have a couple of 10-win seasons without being on probation, even though I know they took some of the wins away from them for that silliness of letting a kid work over at UK Med or something. But people would have been ecstatic with it, Alan. When we were doing it, let's go back to Curry, 1995, 04, 95. Somebody walks up to us and said, someday a coach is going to come here and, they're not going to be great, but he's going to have some flash. He's going to have a couple of moments and he's going to go to 8 bowl games in a row. I said, get out of here. Yeah, sure. And, that's what Mark Stoops has done. And he kind of was his own worst enemy, I think, because now people expect it. And again, they should, for what he's making and for the expectations of the program, they should expect to have winning seasons and go to bowl games. So I don't discount that. I just think realistically, bring it back a little bit, fans out there, that Kentucky's never going to be SEC contenders. They could be good. They could be like middle of the pack. And with all the teams they keep adding, middle of the pack now is about 7 or 8 best teams. Maybe 6th would be a real good year for them.
See, I dispute that, Mr. Rambunctious.
I don't want to mentally constipate you anymore with these my thoughts.
Well, I got my own issues. So, and I stand by this. And by the way, this is not a shot at Stoops, and he's not going anywywhere. He's not going. They're not firing him. They're just people got to get past that. And somebody said, we never really going to pay $38 million. It's more than that because you got some assistants to pay and stuff like that. The point is this: if for some reason Nick Saban was 53 years old, and let's say he was in the NFL at the time, and I don't remember how old he was when he was in Miami and came back and stuff. That's superfluous. It's really not important. And you could hire him. Mr. Rambunctious, I really like that. It really fits you. It's a nice compliment. You can't tell me that Nick Saban wouldn't have elevated this program to a level that people could not have seen. Could you? Because I really believe that, and there's only a few of them. Okay. And this is not a shot against Stoops because you're absolutely right. If somebody said when he was hired, he's going to 8 bowl games in a row, you're going to say, sign me up. But I said it very early on. Once you raise the bar, then people expect it, and going backwards doesn't work, not just Kentucky, but anywhere. But you cannot look me in the eye and tell me that if Nick Saban became the coach here when he's 53, gosh darn it, this program wouldn't be better off. Come on. If Billy Gillispie came back to coach the basketball team, they would suck again. Okay? So as great as Kentucky is in some areas, you got the wrong coach, you suck. It's easier to win at Kentucky in basketball, but you have the wrong guy, you suck.
Well, see, but that point of yours would be one guy, and Saban is arguably the greatest ever. So I understand that. But now, if we went back to when Saban was 53 and Kentucky was hiring, I think they would probably offered him like maybe $300,000. See, therein lies the difference. Now, when you got the kind of money they're dangling out there, the $9 million a year, yeah, you get a lot of coaches to get interested in that. But it would have taken somebody like that. But let's face it, for years Kentucky didn't worry about their football program. I mean, they really didn't. And this is going back to C.M. Newton. The late C.M. Newton, a very fine gentleman, great basketball mind. He made immediately, they didn't fool around when Rick Pitino came in. He knew he had to bring somebody in to get that thing going right away. He never really worried much with football. He kept giving Bill Curry contract extensions off losing records. There was never football pressure. And, it's never, like you say, I will go with your hypothetical. Yes, it would have taken somebody like Saban. And honestly, outside of Saban, I can't remember. I'm trying to think of another coach out there that might have been able to do it. I don't know. An Urban Meyer maybe would have done it a little better. But here's the thing.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Urban Meyer couldn't get an interview when he wanted one. And Jimmy Johnson, you know the story. Jimmy Johnson called, and he still couldn't get an interview when he was at Bowling Green, and they had more talent than Kentucky. Then he went out to Utah. Please continue, sir.
No, and you know what? That helps prove my point. There's never been that much interest. They've never dug deep to try to find out that, who's the next Kurt Signetti out there, for example.
Okay, but wait, Kenny, if they had hired Urban Meyer at that point where he was his third string I can't remember the kid's name. Maybe you do. Kid transferred from Kentucky to Bowling Green. He was like fourth string as a tailback because he had so much talent. So you at that point, Urban Meyer was a recruiting animal. And he was hot. I think he could at that time, not now. I wouldn't hire him now, not in a million years. But he could have changed the program. I really believe that. But that's what ADs get paid for, to do the special, to do the unique.
That's why I say a lot of the blame that everybody gets carried away. It's easy to mention the coach. Sometimes you got to mention the boss. The coach ain't the boss. The coach is the boss of their particular team, but they're not the overall boss. But how about this for hypothetical? Let's say when Hal Mumme was here, again, this is obviously hypothetical, and I don't know, Brad White would have been 14 or something then, but you had a Brad White type of defensive coach to work with Hal Mumme. Hal Mumme might still be here.
No question. Well, Smith the year before with Curry, who was a hell of a defensive coordinator, had he stayed and they asked him, and Mike was an outside linebacker coach, which he was still underqualified for.
Right.
Do Mumme might be here? Yes, because Smith wouldn't have put up with the crap that went on behind the scenes that Mike Leach stopped and John Kropp, as you know, stopped. And then after those two guys had left, there was nobody to police the program because Mumme was not a policer.
Well, the thing I'm talking about is defense. He never had a good defense. I mean, not even an average. If Kentucky had average defense to go along with that high-powered offense, it's kind of like now, another hypothetical. Hal Mumme comes in to be your offensive coordinator under Stoops. How different would this program be with that guy in there as offensive coordinator the last 4 or 5 years?
They scored a ton more points. But, I asked Hal one time, I said, will you take an offensive coordinator's job? And he is now. And he goes, no, because the head coach won't let me go for it on 4th and 20.
Yeah, Hal has to be, Hal's a rebel. I mean, he give him credit. He's been a rebel since I've known him. You've known him. I went out and saw him when he was at New Mexico State. He'd just taken over there. And I was surprised. I thought he'd have some success. I really thought he would do well at New Mexico State. So I missed on that one.
I did too. I missed too.
Yeah, but he just, he does. He has to have total control of the offense. The only thing is, I think the trouble with Mark, if I had to be a critical of one thing, he's a little too much like Kirk Ferentz, who has won more games, I guess, because he stayed around, 27 years at Iowa. He's been around longer than any Big Ten coach. and they're happy with the program out in Iowa. You know, they're not going to. They're going to have their flashes. They're going to be in bowl games, but they're not going to be Michigan or Ohio State consistently. You know, they haven't come close. And I think he feels that you know, that old school kind of football would work at Kentucky enough that Kentucky could be out there in the middle of things and, you know, be never contenders in the SEC, but be around the game a little bit and have moments where they could upset somebody. The trouble with that is they haven't had those moments other than Mississippi last year, you know, where you say, man, what a great road victory, or man, they really stuck. I knew we'd beat Georgia eventually, or I knew we would beat, you know, who else is out there that's keep dragging? I knew we'd beat Tennessee consistently. I know they've beaten them a few times, but, you know, it just never happened. I mean, the offense, you can't keep switching quarterbacks and offensive coordinators as much as Kentucky has and expect any type of continuity. It's just impossible. Plus, Alan, with the NIL now, look at how the money's mismanaged. I don't know how much they paid the quarterback, how those that have come in. I don't know how much they paid him. You know that, I'm sure.
No,
but
actually,
think about if they managed that money a little better, you know, and spread it around a little more, because you had Cutter Bowley already waiting in the wings. And I thought the kid did a nice job the other day. Granted, it's against Eastern Michigan, a team that, you know, probably Louisville Trinity could play even with, but at least that, you know, at least he had a good game and he did everything he was supposed to win an obviously winnable game. So, you know, think about that. If they hadn't tried to play those rotating quarterbacks, and I don't know if it was the big dog's idea to do this or if it's been Mark's idea all along to do it. I don't know. I just don't think that Kentucky knows how to handle a quarterback. And given that, the most humiliating thing in UK football history, and there's been a lot, as you know.
The worst?
I'm going to tell you the worst. 2022 Music City Bowl, when they get shut out 21-0 by Iowa, when they had that quarterback by committee, and they had, you know, Levis isn't going to play because he's going to the pros, and they couldn't figure out what to do with their offense. And they come in with a quarterback, and now here's another quarterback. And it was just an absolute embarrassment. I don't know if they made it across the 50-yard line more than once, maybe twice in the game. I just remember watching it and thinking, how bad can it get? And you know, in many ways, it shows they just have no idea about running an offense or having a consistency at a quarterback. And that's the thing that has hurt Mark in the long run. I'd say, you know, I mean, obviously, I think one of the best quarterbacks he's had is Lynn Bowden, who wasn't supposed to be a quarterback. You know, he stepped in and he played the role very well for them, won a bowl game for them. So that's been that would be the criticism. He's done a real good job of making it a respectable program. Last year was not a case. This year is going to be really tough to get to 6-6. And I think that's the best anybody could hope for at this stage. But, you know, it kind of goes back to show, I think that Music City Bowl, ironically losing to Iowa, one of the most boring offenses in America, by the way.
In history.
You know, to get shut out, it's terrible.
Let me try something. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I can't hear. I'm not hearing something wrong with my headsets. We need to do this. Let's take a really.
I was saying brilliant things, Alan. I was saying really insightful, brilliant things.
Actually, I heard you, but I can't hear it in my ears. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Down, set, hack. Corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clark Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I just stayed in the moment. I feel like that's been a big thing for me, is just not making things more than they are. Kind of staying to me, staying true to myself. And I've prepared every week that I'm the starter. And I've just maxed out my preparation to make sure I'm as comfortable as I can be when I get in there, and that's paid dividends.
The one, the only Kenny Rice, kind enough to join us. And Kenny, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
That was not funny, Kenny. That was.
Did you hear anything that I said? Did
Yes.
you get any of that insight from me earlier?
Actually, I heard you perfectly.
Okay, good.
And now, this is interesting. Now I can hear myself. I couldn't before.
Okay.
I didn't know if. Actually, I was going to signal Jimmy, say, let Kenny talk till 2 o'clock. He can do it without even taking a breath.
You know, and you and I both, I mean, you know, people do talk about age, obviously, and I don't think about it. I don't guess you do either. I mean, that's probably why we're still doing this thing. You know, I'm amazed at how you keep doing it, keeping up locally with all the stuff going on, especially with all the, you know, I mean, the world now revolves around like Twitter and Instagram for information. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's nuts, but I tell you what, my goal, Lynn Martin, if he's driving his car, will drive off the road. Actually, I've told Lynn, I want to do this when I'm 80 years old.
I won't be around that long, but if I am, I would come on your show.
Would you?
Yeah, you may have to wheel me in, but I'd come on, you know. I go, what? Huh? What?
And your mouth will still work just like my mouth will still work. I don't worry about your mouth.
You know, back to UK, let me tell you the trouble with the toughest thing that's hurt Mark. Two things, I'm going to have to lump 3 guys into that 2 things, that second one. First off is the money. When you start making $9 million, as you mentioned earlier, nationally, expectations go up, you know.
Another coach who makes $9 million, who wins fewer games than Mark Stoops. And even when he won 10 games 2 out of 3 years, I'm serious now. And by the way, you know what? UK wants to pay him. More power to Mark.
It's not Mark. Hey, Mark's not the one that gave him the money.
Right.
He didn't give himself a raise. And the second thing, I'm gonna lump 3 guys together.
What is it? It's like, oh no, Mark, please don't leave. Please don't leave. We'll pay you more money. Stop it.
They love that. They did that with Calipari and everybody. They fall it. You know, they've done that with the baseball coach. They fall in love quickly. You know, and but the second thing, I'm lumping 3 guys in. Signetti,
right?
At Indiana, look how quick he's turned it around.
Plus, the son of a coach, and I actually interviewed his dad 1,000 years ago.
You know, and look what he's done. And you know, well, Mark's son of a coach, and look at that coaching tree. You know, his brothers and all.
Yeah.
And now Clark Lee, what he's doing at Vandy. I know he's been assistant 3 or 4 places, including Notre Dame, before he came there. It's taken him a while, but Vandy coming off a big win. You know, they're having some moments, and they're in the top 20 again. And the other is Drinkwitz at Missouri, who's been there about 4 or 5 years now, coming out of Appy State, where he was head coach. But he went and won a major bowl game. You know, they were up there, a top 10 program, and they're back in the top 25.
How about this?
Those programs Kentucky could be on par with, or should be on par with, I think.
I agree with you. How about this? Can I see Drinkwitz being the coach of Florida next year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Although I don't know why they're paying him out there at Missouri. I think they're giving him some money now.
Yes.
You know, they're giving you money. It's different.
No. Okay, but here's the thing. If you think you have a shot at winning the national championship at Missouri, you stay.
Yeah.
If $1 million more a year, he got a huge raise. I forgot what it is.
Yeah.
If you think you can't win the national championship at Missouri, but you could at Florida, you go. Don't you think that's what it would be? Can't be.
And you got a much better shot at Florida, obviously. You got a much better shot at Florida. I think, because geographically, much like Kentucky, Missouri is limited. They're not going to go to the Midwest and beat out Michigan and Ohio State consistently for good players. They can't drop down to the South and come down, against like Louisiana and Mississippi in that area and out recruit Alabama and those kind of teams. And it's very similar with Kentucky. Indiana is the one that is curious. I'll be curious how Cignetti holds up out there. I mean, he's off to a great start. There's no doubt about it. And, got him, top 20 in the last 2 years now. I'll be curious how he holds up because I thought Indiana would be a program very limited as well geographically in who do you get. It's not like Indiana's a great football state. So if we keep the best football players at home, you might get 2, 3 a year that can compete. Much like Kentucky, you can probably get a few more than that. But you're not going to get that many good kids. Not going to get that many really good linemen and all consistently that are homegrown in a state like Kentucky. Consistent. You got to. I know.
I'm really mad. I haven't disagreed with anything you've said so far. It really bothers me.
Alan, you're getting wiser as you get older. I'll say that.
Have you talked to Judy?
No. Hi, Judy. I love you. If I didn't give a shout out to Judy, I'd be remiss. I always say hi to Judy.
I got 1 minute. Give me your strongest take on Kentucky and your prediction. And I have complained about athletics directors don't take enough heat for the people that they hired forever. So have you. That was one point you put in I absolutely love. So one thing, you are now the boss. You are now the czar. You are over your office. It says Kenny Rice, athletics director, Mr. Rambunctious. What would you do to improve Kentucky football?
You're going to have to get a general manager that's going to manage the NIL, where you're not picking up, 6th and 7th year players, where you got maybe some kids that are young that you could develop a little bit, and you don't have to pay them as much at the moment. I think that would be an important thing to do. 2, you've got to get an offense consistent. Now, I don't know if this offensive coordinator, Hamden's going to be the guy that stays and makes it or not. I'm not impressed with the offense right now. I think it's still too scattershot. You've got to have that. The third thing is Mark will be back next year. I don't see him leaving. There's too much money at stake, not just for him, for the university. If they get lucky, they go 4-7 this year. Is that right? We had 12 games. I shorted them one, maybe 5-7, probably 4. They'll forfeit one game. They'll get tired, just forfeit one game. No, they'll go probably 4-8. I just don't, Mississippi was a winnable game. That was a game they could have pulled an upset here.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So that changed my 6-6 pick. I'm going 4-8. I don't see them. South Carolina is the worst possible time to play them. Worst possible time to play them now. So they're smarting, even though they're going to have a week off. I think Kentucky will be great this week, by the way. It's that next week game with South Carolina. But no, that's what they need. They just need to have some consistency on offense. They need to have somebody oversee the program with all this NIL because it is different. And I don't think all coaches should be responsible for keeping up with the NIL because that's a different world. They should just be concentrating on the X's and O's part of it. But that's what they've got to do. And, general manager could help with recruiting. Call them whatever, the coordinator of the team. Call them whatever you want. But they've got to work like an NFL general manager.
You didn't say Bagman, did you? No, certainly not.
Well, now Bagman, you can say Bagman. My good, Arch Manning's making like $7 million, $6 million a year, and it's well publicized. It's nuts, isn't it? It really is.
Like he really needs the money anyway, but you can.
Yeah, he's I kind of the Manning family is very nice. I've got to meet them 3 or 4 times over the years, and you're really nice people. So I'm kind of rooting for the kid. But but basically, Kentucky just needs to get consistent offense. I think White's got a pretty solid defense, and it ain't going to happen this year. Okay, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs the rest of the year. Fans are going to complain, and the best thing Mark has going for him is there's excitement about Pope's basketball team. So mid-October, they'll start going in another direction with that.
Bless you, brother.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, brother.
Hey, when it calms down, we need to grab a bite. I'm doing track meets watching most Saturdays in the morning. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, anytime soon. Hello, Judy.
Jimmy,
I do that. You know that.
He doesn't throw kisses to me. He throws them to Judy, right?
Yeah, I'm relaying it.
Your mama didn't raise no fool.
That's true.
Hey, seriously, bless you. It's always good talking to you. Your logic is great. I appreciate your time, and we need to get together. Kenny, thank you so much.
Always. Thank you, Alan.
See you, brother. Kenny Rice. Really good stuff, Jimmy. Really, 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 really good. He's always really good.
Kenny on Monday has got to be the best time to have him on.
Yes.
After a busy weekend.
Full of brim and fire. I've told him many times, why don't you do a talk show every day? Because that's work. He said, I'm happy to do your show whenever I can fit you in, which he does, unless he's traveling and stuff like that. But he says, I don't want to do it every day. But he's always had, I think, wonderful, strong opinions. I have a wonderful, strong opinion about Subaru. Check out the Outback. I think most of you know it's a special car. And the Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for Subaru. 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, it's 1.9% for 72 months. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru. And they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. 0% for 36 months. We have two cars from the Quantrill Auto Group. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Down, set, hack, corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clark's Stop and Shop and pick up assorted Reese's king-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Sour Patch or Swedish Fish peg bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
That's awesome. That's the biggest thing for me is my friends and family. My family has just been so supportive my entire life, and I'm so happy they're all able to be here on every game day, and that just means the world to me to have them all there. So it's awesome.
Really nice comment by Carter Bowley. All about family. I thought he was terrific. I wasn't surprised by anything he did against Eastern Michigan. And we'll see what happens when it steps up in class to South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I haven't talked to this gentleman. Did I just call you gentleman? Really? This gentleman in quite some time, former Studley defensive lineman. Boy, do I abuse that word, Jeremy. Jeremy Caudle, kind enough to join us. How are you, Jeremy?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Alan, gentleman stud, I don't think I've ever had used as descriptors for myself in my lifetime.
Well, I hope never to use it again with you. How's that?
I appreciate it.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. So I had no idea that Josh Caddis could catch balls the way he did. That catch falling out of bounds, that's an NFL play. One of my deep throats sent me a text, and this person, obviously would know, otherwise I wouldn't say it, that he's on the jugs machine at 6:15 in the morning every day catching balls. I never thought of him I know his dad played in the NFL, and the Bengals could use him playing guard if he was about 40 years younger, because I can't believe they didn't fix the guard position in the offseason. Why pay money for Higgins, hell of a receiver, when you need the offensive line and you got to protect Joe Burrow? Dumber than a box of rocks, neither here nor there. I never thought of him as an NFL prospect until Saturday when he went up to catch a ball, and I love where Cutler threw it, only he could get it. And as the ball's coming down, I'm going, can he get that? I didn't know. It slows down for me. I don't know why I'm able to do that. And then when he made that catch falling out of bounds, Jamar Chase makes that catch, you go, big deal. Maybe there's 5 tight ends that could make that catch in the NFL. Seriously, a lot of wide receivers, but tight ends. He's a prospect. I mean, he's legitimate. He doesn't have to be the fastest guy in the world if you got great hands.
No, he looked great. He had a couple of phenomenal catches, like you just said. And boy, is it nice to watch an offense targeting the tight ends and it being on our side of the football. It's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. I didn't think I'd see it any time in my lifetime, Alan. But no, it's been nice. I think I just saw some stat where we're one of 2 teams in Division I football that have targeted the tight ends 8+ times so far this season. Hey, I'll take it.
Absolutely. I actually thought it was going to happen last year. Boy, was I wrong about that. Give your assessment of Cutter Boley as a quarterback and as a kid from what you know and what you think of the future.
Well, everything I've heard about the kid is positive, and I think that's helpful. He's still young, and the step up from high school to this, and even the limited time he got last year, but it's a huge step, and there's a lot more. I don't know, man. A lot more stress from his perspective, and I don't know if he's seeing the field, if things haven't slowed down for him. But that's a big thing at the college game. Is just like you mentioned when you're watching it. For a player, the game has to slow down for you to be able to see things and make the decisions that you have to make at this level. And I'm not sure he's quite there yet. There were a couple of open routes that he just flatly missed, man. Hopefully they're getting that corrected in the film room, and that'll open his eyes a little bit more. He may have had a little tunnel vision. But overall, man, he throws a beautiful ball.
I think he missed some things. I think the game is slowing down for him. I think it needs to slow down a lot more. And I think that'll come with time. I think it is slowing down. And there was one play where he threw one way and Law was open on the other side. And there were a couple of those. Okay. I expect that to happen for a kid who hasn't taken that many snaps. So I look at the positive. That throw to Caddis was perfectly placed in both of them. And you can't replace that. I thought his vision on the field was really good. Is it as good as it will be 6-7 games from now? Nope. I think it'll be much, much better. So, I'm going blank. The kid at Georgia, Stockton, is that the kid's name, the quarterback? I'm going blank. Anyway, neither here nor there. Doesn't play a great first game. It was all world in high school, and people getting on his case a little bit. I said, wait, you got to give it a little time. Gunnar Stockton. Thank you, Jimmy. Gunnar, give it and now, like the last 2 games, he's hardly missed. And I wasn't judging him after one game. People are expecting instant gratification, and at times it's dumber than a box of rocks. And so I expect Carter to be much better in week 10, even against much better competition. Whether the numbers will be better is something else. But as far as seeing things and understanding, he said one thing, and please respond after this, is that he's now at the point he can tell guys where to go. that he knows the offense that well, where he couldn't do that initially. And why would he be able to do that initially? So I just think it's a process, and you got to live with it. I mean, you got to live with it because there's potential.
You know, you go like I'll speak from experience. I've got a son who just turned 15, got his permit, and you know he thought it was going to go out and be easy, like his video games, and he's finding out that driving a car is a lot more involved than we make it seem. I think it's the same thing for driving this offense.
Yep.
And Cutler Bowley, even Calzada with all of his experience, there were some struggles between both of them. Especially, knowing where guys are supposed to be, being able to adjust to the coverages, and looking at a defense, knowing what those coverages can present to you, both difficulties and opportunities, and then taking advantage of those. I like to watch Van Hiles sometimes break down some film, although I'm going to tell him he's got to stop with the 3-hour film breakdowns. He's going to have to get some highlights in there. But watching him break down some of that film from a defensive back perspective is very, very interesting when he's critiquing our offense, and it's pretty informative. But I think things will continue to slow down. He'll start seeing more of that. And just like you were talking about Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, I mean, you look at Manning at Texas, man, he has struggled, right? And he was supposed to be the guy. He's having some growing pains down there too. But all these quarterbacks will look better later in the season.
I agree. And Manning has struggled a lot more than I ever dreamed. Shockingly, his touch isn't that good, all kinds of things. He seems nervous, and you're saying, how could a Manning be nervous? Okay, he's playing in a different arena.
Absolutely.
Hopefully for Texas's sake, they can continue winning as he gets better. And if not, there'll be a problem. There'll definitely be a problem. So I look at it this way. You got two studly running backs that were brought in here. I've been saying for quite a long time. This is not new this week, last week, the week before, the week before, the week before, the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Saying before the season started. I have been clamoring for Patterson to get some touches. And basically he got touches because it got lopsided and Dowdell has a bad thigh. But you don't play that kid and get him touches, he ain't going to stay. And that's just the real world. And I don't see why you can't get those three kids, if they are all healthy, a minimum of now the number one guy should get more, but a minimum of 7 or 8 touches each. And it's probably about 30 touches in the running game. But if you're going to have 80 plays or 70 plays, it's not asking a lot. And you got to play Patterson some more. I love McCown. I don't like him. I love him. I have said this for weeks, that the two guys they brought in will be in NFL camps. Now, the rest of the year we'll decide if they get drafted or not. McCown right now I think would be a low draft choice. But I think both those guys are going to be in NFL camps. I don't even doubt it. And then it's got a lot of season left to go. But the fact that they brought in 2 running backs of this ilk with an offensive line that is tremendously better, you got to give Stoops some.
There it is. There it is. Thank you for saying that. Yep.
I mean, John Hale had it. They've given up 1 sack a game now versus 3 last year. And I don't have the numbers, but it sure seems like whoever the quarterback is this year don't get hit like it has the last couple of years. And so this is I know they haven't played South Carolina yet, and they haven't played Texas yet, and we will see, and there'll be more sacks. You expect that, so do I. It's a much, 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 much better offensive line.
This offensive line play has been just a huge turnaround from the past couple of seasons. And you and I both, and several other of your guests have really hammered on the fact that this offensive line was the weak spot the last few years when we were getting to the point where we were accustomed to the O-line being the strongest end of the game there. But man, this O-line has impressed me. I love to sit there and watch the O-line and D-line. That's just my thing. Everybody else can look at the skill players and figure out the coverages and their routes. But I love watching those guys inside play, and it has been just a huge 180-degree turnaround from where we were coming from, Alan.
I want to play a soundbite. Jimmy, give me a thumbs up when you have it. Especially, I was saving this for you. It's Brad White clip number 2, and Jimmy will give me a thumbs up. Jimmy being quick that he is. Ticked off is a fair way to put Brad White after the game. After the Ole Miss game, with all talk about the quarterback, the other thing I was pushing hard was the Yaks. Kentucky sucked with the Yaks. The Ole Miss receivers would spin to the outside, and they were just faster and more athletic than the Kentucky wide receivers. It was 107 yards of Yaks in the first half. It was awful, 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 awful. They didn't do it. The defensive line is doing a nice job, but the DBs, which was supposed to be a strength, has not. They've got some injuries, okay, but that's just the way of the world. Everybody gets injured. And right now you have to be concerned about the defense overall, which I didn't think I'd be saying about Brad White. So listen to this soundbite, and then I want you to comment that Brad White was ticked off.
There were mistakes that were made today that are day one installed mistakes. Like that, it was everything from communication to just simple things about getting the call, like things that have never happened or occurred here. And again, that will get addressed and that will get fixed. You know, having the bye week will be good, but they better be ready to strap it up and let's go. This is not an ease bye week, you know, a happy-go-lucky scenario. We have to redial in, you know, get back to the standard that we played with, and that was anything but tonight.
Jeremy, I can tell you, his face often looks worse than the words that come out of his mouth. He had this intense look, and he is ticked off. And I bet, I don't know what level they do woodshed today versus the good old days. It'll be nothing like the good old days. But this is probably not going to be an easy week for the defense, because I thought, you know, okay, their quarterback started like 5 games at Michigan State. That's fine. You know, there's a lot of kids that can play college football. But I thought the defense, honestly, sucked overall. I mean, seriously, it sucked. If this were the offense of 3 weeks ago, this would have been a tight game.
Yeah, we got exposed on Saturday, Alan. You know, I know there's been some younger guys and less experienced guys back there at defensive back this past week for whatever reasons, that, you know, whether it be injuries or whatever. But we got exposed big time with that. You know, it made me wonder how we played so well against Ole Miss with their prolific offense and passing attack. This was not a good team that we played. Let's just be honest with it. They are not a good team, and we made them look really good at certain points. But yeah, no, our defense got exposed. I think the guys up front did a really, really good job. But from linebackers to DBs, with an emphasis on the latter part there, we got exposed in several places. And you could even tell. I mean, the guys stayed positive for the most part. I didn't watch them on the sideline, but after there was a big error or a lapse in coverage, they would go and kind of pat the guy on the back, and it sounded like, or it looked like anyways, they were trying to coach them up on the field. But there were some drop coverages and miscommunications that were terrible. And I would bet Brad White, that was probably the tamest that he has talked about that game since it happened on Saturday.
I would agree with that. You know, I get you're incorporating new kids every year, but it would seem to me in game 3, if you make a physical mistake, that's one thing. Not that it's good, but a communication thing, you have been practicing in the heat of July and August. And I mean, come on, they've been practicing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And to have a slippage in communication is one thing, but for apparently, and I don't know the number, they're not going to tell us, I get that, but the number of communication problems this deep into the season, it's not halfway through the season, but this isn't game 1 anymore. It seems to me that is kind of inexcusable. Am I being too tough?
No, I think you're right. No matter who you bring in at this point, whether they're new, young, whatever it is, if they didn't even get to play much in the first game or two, at this point, you still have to be on the same page communication-wise. You guys have to be talking, and there can't be any lapses in that. You know, barring some major catastrophe, I just can't understand why it happens. I'm with you on that one, Alan.
Doesn't make any sense.
None.
Jeremy Cutler graduated Kentucky what year, pal?
Well, I finished playing in 2003, but I went back and finished my degree in 2008.
2008. Tell everybody what you do for a living. Audience.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I work down in Danville. I work at Danville Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We're General Orthopedics and Sports Medicine group down there in Danville. I've been there for 12 years as an orthopedic PA. Love what I do down there. I enjoy the heck out of it, and I can't imagine doing anything else right now.
There you go. Okay, so, you know, before the season, I thought this team would go to a bowl game, a weak bowl, but a bowl game. You have any thoughts on that? I'm not even more positive or less positive based on beating Eastern Michigan. I kind of thought that Cutler would do what he did, which is miss some guys, not see some guys, be calmer, throw the ball better than Zach. I mean, I kind of expected what we saw on Saturday. And so and it's good. I'm glad Cutler got the opportunity, but it wasn't like that much better than I expected. Now, if he can do that against South Carolina, That's, to me, is a different story. So where do you sit with the program and where they are this year?
Well, you know what, I was more positive. I wasn't as positive as I have been in the past, but I was more positive this year, and hopeful. I guess I was kind of around the same area where I thought, six wins would be good. 7 wins I thought would be rare. 8 wins, I didn't see it. Now that I'm seeing how the season's playing out, I'm concerned. I worry that we have one more game at home that we can win, because those other ones, man, they're tough. And no matter if Texas is down a little bit right now, you're always concerned they're going to turn the corner. South Carolina is a hard matchup. Georgia at Georgia, I don't care what year it is or what they have, that's going to be a tough matchup. Auburn, you got to play them there. Florida, I don't know what's going to happen with them when they come in. So, with their coaching and everything else that's going on there, you look, there may be 2 more home games that we have a chance at, and only one that's a definite. The rest of the road games are tough, really tough. So right now, if we got to a bowl game, I might be surprised.
This is my pet peeve. I'm tired of people saying Kentucky's schedule is tough, and I'll tell you why. Tennessee's got a tough schedule. Alabama's got a tough schedule. Georgia has a tough schedule, maybe not so tough because they have more talent. And I've just gotten to the point where you're in the Southeastern Conference. You either strap it on or you don't. Come on, dude, you played. Okay, so you played a tough schedule, but Tennessee played a tough schedule. Vandy played a tough schedule. Georgia plays a tough schedule. They just handle it better. So I'm numb to that now.
Yeah.
I really am, because if you want to be a special program, whatever the hell's in front of you is in front of you. You have a little more control in basketball with the non-conference games, okay. And you do have some control in football, not a ton, because now they're going to 9 games. But you don't like it, go to the ACC. So people say, yeah, the schedule is tough. I'm going, well, then either get the hell out of the league or get better players and get better coaches. In other words, to me, saying this is the only time I've ever really disagreed with you. To me, saying it's a tough schedule, I don't care.
Wait a minute. Hang on now, because I was talking about the way the rest of the season was going. I was more positive at the beginning. So my only complaint is how we've played up to this point, looking at those games going forward.
And that's fair, but you can't play Eastern Michigan 10 times.
No, and nor should you want to. If you want to do that, go to a school like Eastern Michigan.
Amen. I have this thing like everybody says it's a tough schedule. Mississippi State has a tough schedule. The question is, are your players good enough? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, according to 99% of the guys that know college football, it's the toughest schedule in the United States, or the toughest conference in the United States.
It is.
You get these outliers at Indiana that think that they play in a tough conference, but.
Okay, Indiana. The guy from Indiana, what he said was Cignetti's done a hell of a job there, but that was just total BS. Was it the other coach at SMU who said, was it SMU?
Yeah.
Total BS. And the guy used to be in the Southeastern Conference. I mean,
there's some social media attention, and they're getting clicks, Alan.
Absolutely, and it might help him recruit. Yeah, I want to play for this guy. He says, where, blah, 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 blah. And they don't, either they're dumb by saying something stupid, which everybody does, including me. Tell me the next time I say something dumb, look at the look on your face if you're on YouTube looking at it.
Hey, I want to hear it the next time you own up to that, rather than just saying it with a broad brushstroke.
No, when I make a mistake, Jimmy, when I make a mistake, do I say it?
Yes.
Really? Jimmy's not going to defend me, so shame on you. Caudle, Jeremy Caudle, Studley linebacker.
See, there you go. You just made another mistake.
Well, that's true. Called you Studley lineman. Okay, you're right. That was my fault. You should have played tight end. I told you that. You'd have been in the NFL forever. I'm right about these things.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey, we got to have a little fun, right?
That's right.
Look, I have no idea if Cutter Bowler can play in the NFL. I'm not putting him in the NFL. I think he's got that kind of potential. Will it come to that? I have no idea. I just think you get in trouble, and I can't prove this, but I don't doubt it, that Zach, to get him here, that Zach Calzada was promised a starting job. Why would he come here? I don't know how many other offers he had. I don't know what the money was. When it comes down to these last 3 schools or something like that, he's looking for a guarantee. That's what I would be looking for. That's what you would be looking for. And I think when you guarantee a job and you promise a job and the team knows, I've got this from inside, the team knows that the other guy is outplaying you and you don't do it, I think it affects the team.
No, I mean, that's it's always been that way, but now with the nature of college football and the NIL and the recruiting and the transfers, it's become more of that. And just listening to how the coaches talked preseason, especially the couple of weeks leading up to the season, you kind of got that feeling, right? That Calzada was going to start, but that Cutter had been very competitive in practice. And then you heard inside talk here and there from some of the guys saying how much better Cutter had been. And so, I won't say Calzada earned it, but he earned it maybe financially. I don't know. But again, I think you could feel a little bit of that, and people kind of saw some of that. It's unfortunate to ever see somebody get injured or bumped down, but in the end, I think we may have the better quarterback out there right now.
You agree with me that there was no way, and I applaud Stoops for not naming the quarterback after the game, because I think you have to treat players a certain way, and you don't announce after the game, even if you've already decided, and I would think he would have, but I don't know that. You can't say Cutter's a starter without talking to Calzada. You can't name Cutter the quarterback without talking to your offensive coordinator. You can't name him the quarterback without talking to Cutter itself. I actually, some people came at me and said, oh, why didn't he name it right away? You can't treat players like that. You don't want the guy who you brought in to be the starting quarterback, who's a lovely kid, by the way, just because he's not from Kentucky, from Cuba, his parents, his grandparents, they sacrificed for him. He seems like I've never talked to him, but he seems like a great kid from everything I've seen. I've watched interviews, stuff like that. Even if he was a bad kid, which he's not, you can't treat people like that. So I applaud Stoops for not saying something that seems pretty obvious. Would you, come on, you played for 1,000 years. Would you like to find out that you lost your job that way?
1,000 years. No, you're right though. You can't do that. You can't do it to the player. You can't do it to your offensive coaches, and you can't do it to yourself. If Stoops says that, and then all of a sudden there's some other little thing that the coach comes up and says, "Hey, what about this or this issue?" Or, "Hey, he's not doing." Then you're stuck, right? Then you have to go back out and you're either saying, "Oh, well, there's make up some other excuse to put Calzada back in." But no, you can't do it right away. But I think somebody, they want to know, and you've got to make that decision early on in the week. And I think they announced it at an appropriate time.
I would imagine there's a conversation going on. I'm trying to remember if they gave the kids today off or not, the players today off or not. Either today or tomorrow, the players had off. Whatever it is, the next time they get together, I would assume that a conversation has probably already happened between the quarterbacks and Stoops talking with Bush Hampton. That would be my guess. That would be a normal thing to do, wouldn't you think?
I think it should. If it's not happened, it should, or should be currently. Yeah.
I think let's put it this way. I think Cutter knew days before Saturday that he was starting.
Well, I think Bush needs to know in advance, because the game plan is going to be based on each quarterback's strengths.
Sure.
And go in fully prepared. Now, maybe it's less so this past week with Eastern Michigan, but this week and the next week, you really got to build for the stretch that you're about to go into, and you need to know who's going to be taking the snaps.
Jeremy Cutler, let me throw one more thing. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you can join us again soon. The number one thing you're pleased, the number one thing you're upset about with this football program so far in just a snippet of the season so far?
Yeah, pleased so far has been the upfront play, both offense and defense, offensive line, defensive line. They've both shown huge improvement, especially on the offensive side. Defensive side, I think they've proven their worth, and they're a solid group. They don't have the name recognition that they've had the last couple of years with some of the players, but overall, as a group, they've been more solid. Things that have been a surprise, and you obviously had some insight that I didn't. These running backs, man, gosh, I love them. I love how hard they run. I love that they put their shoulder pads down. I like that they're patient at the right times, but then they go ahead and break at the right time. I've just really liked their play. The disappointment, to echo Brad White's words, the disappointment was the defense, especially this last week. They looked better the first couple of weeks. I was really surprised with their play this past week, but I think you'll get them right.
Terrific. Hopefully next couple of weeks when you fit it in your schedule, I'd be honored and pleased if you would join us. Now, was I wrong about anything today?
Studley, and you said linebacker at one point, Alan. I caught you. You said linebacker.
Yeah, I screwed up.
It was a slip. It's all right. Oh,
No.
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Our wide receivers, they have to find a way to get open, to get some separation, Alan. The wide receivers have struggled.
I'm glad you said that. What I have been saying since before the season started, when people would ask me, what about the wide receivers? And I just said, I don't know. So why not play 2 tight ends all the time and maybe have a third tight end like a fullback? And then, as you know, come on, you're a physician assistant. You're smarter than me. Okay, you got all these guys across the line of scrimmage, and if you get in the secondary, you might be running forever with studly running backs. And so if wide receiver is not your thing, punch him in the mouth.
Hey, I need Jimmy to take a snippet of what you just said, edit out, you're smarter than me, and keep that as a single snippet going forward so we can just play it over and over again. But no, I like what you're talking about. The only thing I worry about is watching them some this last game, especially, was they'd line up in 2 tight ends and they'd max protect, and we only had 2 wide receivers going in routes they couldn't get free. I hate that. Don't like that. They got to get away from it.
Well, how about maybe slipping out a running back because the tight end is blocking and get it to McCowan?
Well,
you have 3 and slip out one of the tight ends.
You got to have more than 2 in the route, and especially if you're going to go deep balls on 3rd and 9, you better have some extra people out there and be looking short.
Hurts. I agree 100%.
I love it.
Open up the holes. Hey, Mr. Caudle, have yourself a great week. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and keep on doing all these fatherly things with your son, going to games and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing.
All right, Alan. Thanks a lot for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Jeremy Caudle, not linebacker, Studley, defensive lineman.
Gentlemen. Thanks, Al.
See you, man. I think he won that last one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he slammed me pretty good. Yeah. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist, acupuncture. Ramon Carriega, I will see him today. He's helped me tremendously, putting in a whole bunch of needles in my body, and it works, and I don't understand it, but I wish everybody my age did it, and I wish I was doing it when I was 25. Would have helped my back out when I really, really needed it. Anyway, check him out. Please use my name, Ramon Carriega, 859-533-0914. Tristan Ferris, who had a big scoop, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Down, set, hack. Corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clark Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
There was a lot of pressure on us because we were like, can we make the tournament? Can we get out of the, like you said, the dark times of that place? I mean, dark times at the moment. We start off the season 18-0. And it's like, well, this is Rockstar. This is what college basketball is all about. I mean, as a kid, you dream of watching some of your favorite players play college basketball. Even if they didn't put on a Kentucky jersey, you just wake up and watch a CBS, ABC on the weekend, or ESPN game, or the tournament. So when you got to be in that moment, I'm really living in this, and we got it rocking. I feel like people might sound biased, but I feel like we brought the excitement back to college basketball that was missing for a while. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of great talents, great teams that won championships and did things, and great players that came through college. But I think we brought that swagger back to college basketball.
And the biggest person in that swagger was John Wall, who definitely changed this program. Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. If I remember right, it's 22 minutes. And the young man who's joining me now got a scoop. And I'm telling you, I hope because of the show, we can double or triple the amount of folks that listen to the interview, which will give you some love. You did a hell of a job, Tristan Ferris, with John Wall. You didn't back down. When I say back down, not that you would be shy, but you prepared your questions, and he talked about everything from, the tough, dark times where he thought about, do I want to live, to his tough background as a child growing up, to his love of Kentucky, to his love of sneakers. It's really a wonderful, wonderful 22 minutes. And Tristan, as they say hi, tell everybody where they can find the interview. I really, you need to pat yourself on the back. I was proud of you, dude.
Well, thank you, Alan. It was pretty neat. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. It was pretty neat. John Wall, you can catch that interview on YouTube. And it was about 25 minutes long, something in there. We talked a little bit before and afterwards, but very appreciative of his time. And John Wall, he scored 24 points in the first Kentucky game that I remember. I'd been to some before, but the first one I remember was the Kentucky-Tennessee college game day game where he scored 24, and I was there holding up a Great Wall of Kentucky sign. So it was kind of a pinch yourself moment to be able to interview him all these years later.
I remember this first game where Kentucky was getting beat by Miami of Ohio, and people were antsy and all that, and they made a comeback, and then Wall hit a shot to win the game. And it's like the legend of John Wall started from there. I mean, I remember with about 5 minutes to go, I think everybody was thinking where I was, really? They're going to lose the first home game under John Calipari? No disrespect to Miami of Ohio, but Miami of Ohio, and he hit that shot, about 15, 16 feet. I can picture it now. I was underneath the basket on the other side, and that seemed to change everything and lift everybody's spirit up.
Yeah, I just think that year, you talk about the Miami, Ohio game, and as close as it was, but that year was as fun as you hear people talk about it of any team in college basketball history, just the personalities that are on that team. You had LeBron James and Magic Johnson coming to games, President Obama calling the team. It was a pretty, and that was all before social media. So just imagine that team in the social media area and how much attention they would have received.
Oh, it would have been a different world. You're absolutely right. It is interesting how loyal John Wall is to Kentucky, and as a person, he's just a very loyal young man. And he's there's an expression we used to use before you were born called he's straight up. In other words, he is no filter. He's very honest. I bet he's very good on television. And I'm really glad he's getting a shot because he's just going to tell you what he sees and that kind of thing. If I have only one regret for John, I thought he got screwed at the end of his career because, the big dollars were done. Nobody was going to pay him big dollars. I don't know how much he made, over $100 million, but whatever. He made $1 gazillion, and he wasn't looking for a lot of money. And he probably in a lot of teams couldn't have started, but he wanted to help out a team that had young players to kind of coach and counsel and stuff like that. And for the life of me, I could not understand why 4 or 5 teams weren't competing for his services, and they didn't even ask. I haven't talked to John, but I bet he would have played for the NBA minimum. It wasn't the money. He just wanted to be part of the game and play the game, and he still had enough juice that he could have played off the bench 15, 18 minutes and counsel guys. And sometimes the NBA does some really dumb things with people. Just dumb. Oh, we can't pay him that money. Let's not ask. Ask.
Yeah,
And
and
he was hurt by it.
yeah, like you said, the last few years he battled so many injuries. He effectively had basketball taken away from him. It's kind of that his therapy throughout that time of losing his mom, having those injuries, and he talked about it, was he couldn't be on the court, so he had to open himself up. But once he got healthy again, he wanted to come back to the court, and it was just kind of gone for him. Yeah, he maybe lost that step and stuff, and wasn't as quick or as athletic as he once was. But when he was playing with the Rockets, he still averaged 20-5, 20-6, something like that. And he was playing with Boogie for a little bit, and that was a young Rockets team. He really could have helped. So he had some gas, and I think that's kind of the delay of his retirement in the last few years. He obviously hasn't played in a couple seasons, but he really wanted to get back in it. But he's got a pretty good opportunity coming up with Amazon Prime. He gets to team up with D Wade, so we're going to hear him pretty often if you watch the NBA.
I do watch the NBA, and I'm looking forward. And I bet he and D Wade get along famously, and there'll be mutual respect. And he might push D Wade a little bit. D Wade, I've seen him on TV, does a nice job, and he's kind of forward. I think John Wall is even more forward. And I'm not saying there'll be competition between the two, but I think that will help them both be very open on their comments. I'm actually pretty excited. I don't even know who's doing the play-by-play sitting in between, but the play-by-play guy needs to do play-by-play and just let those guys talk.
As I said, John's pretty raw. I mean, he'll open up to it, and he'll talk about his experiences. We even talked about, I thought he may have just all that he's dealt with, from being the number one pick, number one high school prospect, and all-star, and having your career kind of taken away by injuries. I feel like he could do a lot of good coaching, even if the broadcasting doesn't work out.
He'd be a terrific coach. I'm surprised unless he's been here, we didn't find out. And I think if he was here, there'd be a picture with he and Pope together. It'd be on Twitter and all social media and stuff like that. And Pope apparently would like him to be around, but who better to talk to guards or to talk to the team about handling yourself the right way and being professional and those kinds of things for all these guys who are on the team who have professional aspirations, and to have John Wall, just have a 10-minute conversation with the guys. This is what you need to do. Get your rest, do this, do that, whatever. It's not all about money and partying and stuff like that. I think he could be a great counsel, and I think the guys on the team, there are some guys here, as you know, one of the reasons they came here is because when they were kids, they knew who John Wall was, and it was John Wall is still helping recruit at Kentucky.
That was 16 years ago. And it's just kind of a testament to his career at Kentucky and in the NBA. But now the newer kids, the Taylor Kinney's, the Jasper Johnsons, they're looking at De'Aaron Fox and Tyler Hero and Tyrese Maxey. It's just kind of John Wall. He stood the testament of time throughout his time on and off the court.
With your conversation with John Wall, has anything surprised you?
Honestly, it kind of him opening up was really neat, talking about his mental battles, just because not a lot of players talk about that kind of stuff. You kind of, if you played athletics, or if you're coming from a very traditional background with, you're supposed to be the man of the house and you're supposed to show weakness, and him being able to be vulnerable and kind of talk about that was pretty neat. And he helped not just himself, but probably a lot of people. If you can open up yourself and you're that well known and that notable, why can't the everyday man just open up? So that was pretty neat, and just how much, which I knew how much I love my son, but hearing him talk about his kids and him that's the one positive of getting out of the NBA was he gets to spend more time with his family, and that was his priority. So that wasn't surprising, but it was pretty neat to hear.
Yeah. Plus, I liked how he said he likes taking his kids to school.
Yeah.
And if you're coaching, you might not be able to do that.
I thought it was interesting. He bought he said his most regrettable purchase in the NBA was he bought a Rolls Royce limousine to take his kids in school before he even had kids. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I think he used the word dumb with you, which I really like.
Yeah, dumb.
Like, what a dumb thing to do. I hope he got his money back. I'm sure he did, at least most of it, whatever. Can you imagine pulling up to elementary school in a Rolls Royce limousine.
You definitely be the cool kid at school. You definitely be the cool kid at school.
You know, and the other thing, and I know Cal helped, but I think this was also in his heart. You know, as soon as he went to the Bullets with the first pick, he was doing stuff to help kids out and buying, you know, book bags and this and that and the other. And I have a standard line with this. You can say, well, he's got a lot of money. He can do it. A lot of people, a lot of money don't do squat. And he's quietly giving away a whole lot of money. And it's from his heart and that kind of thing. It's one of the things about him I respect. Because, again, there are rich people who don't give a dime. And he would do things for kids. And I always respected that tremendously.
And you can look it up. While he was in DC, there was actually a young girl who got pretty sick with cancer. And he dedicated that season to her. And there's a time where he breaks down after learning that she had passed on a post-game interview. And he put a lot into that city. You talk about his loyalty earlier. He's very loyal to the people he loves and the community he puts himself into.
I remember there was a shot of with this young girl at a game, and they're on the sidelines, and the hug they had to each other, and you could see it in his eyes, you know, how emotional he was and that kind of thing, and his respect for his mom. You know, it was absolutely off the charts. Give me one comment about Kentucky football before we say goodbye, and then I want you to get another plug for the interview. Folks, you like John Wall's 22 minutes. It's really good stuff. You need to listen to it, but go ahead, Tristan.
Kentucky football's 2-1. May not be able to say they'll be over 500 anytime the rest of the season, so that's a positive. But a bye week, Cutter Bowley's QB1. So if we go back to Calzada after Saturday, I'm not sure what to expect of the rest of the season. So, and then you can check out that interview. It's on YouTube. You can check my socials. I've linked it in there. We'll be clipping it up here over the next few days and getting to them that way.
Good. If you want to put it on Twitter and tag me, I'll retweet it for you. People need to do it. I'm proud of you for getting the scoop. Good for you, dude. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the press box.
Thank you, Alan. See you then.
Whoa, real quick. Tell everybody where you work and stuff like that. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, you're good. I work for a Sea of Blue. I have my own thing, Kentucky Insider, so you can check out all of our stuff there. And ramping up basketball season and getting ready for the South Carolina football game.
Now I'll say get off my phone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm proud of you. Good job. I appreciate your time. I'll catch you down the road, hopefully.
Thank you, Alan. See you guys.
Thanks, man. That's really, Jimmy, I'm telling you, you need to listen to it. It was 22 minutes and every word was worth listening to.
That story about John Wall with the little girl with cancer, that one still gets me every time I see him when he broke down in the post-game press conference on the court when he was talking about it. It tells you what kind of guy he is, I think.
Yes. You know, the tough upbringing, tough childhood, and overcame it. He's got a lot of toughness in him, and he's got, you know, look, just because you have money, that doesn't mean the road is easy. I think there are a lot of people that think, well, they have a lot of money, so therefore, no. Money just amplifies and made things easy for him, but that didn't mean it was easy at times inside his heart. Always rooted for John Wall. Always. Terry Page, Terry Page, check her out, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. She's been wonderful for me. She's helped me out, as I've said, it seems like 1,000,000 times, tremendously, absolutely tremendously. So use my name, special person. By the way, tomorrow, Doug Flynn, who just got into UK Athletics Hall of Fame, will be joining us. Deuce Williams, former Studley linebacker. No show Wednesday, right, Jimmy? No show, Reds baseball.
Correct.
Yep. And then Thursday, Van Hiles, Chip Rupp. On Friday, Hal McCoy, and was working on Fran Kersey. We'll see if he'll do the show or not. Ramsey said he'll do the show. And I was friends with Fran a long time ago, but he hasn't responded to a text, which happens sometimes. It's all good. So got a lot of good things that are popping up. Okay. Kentucky football. A lot will happen between now and South Carolina. I don't see any reason why they can't beat South Carolina. I just don't. Guarantee it? No, I have no idea. But can they beat South Carolina? Yes. Because in the trenches, I believe that they can hit with South Carolina. And that's a change from last year on both sides of the ball. So because of that, I think there's more hope. I really do. Give a hat tip to Corey Price, Mr. Stat. He came up with this. He's amazing. So Seth McCowan, who's just been He's been spectacular. 78, 93, and 104 yards in 3 games. It's pretty good, averaging 5.4 yards a pop. He's got 6 touchdowns in 3 games. That's the most since George Adams, who had 7. George, first-round draft choice in the New York Giants. George, who I covered at Lafayette High. I mean, seriously. And there were a couple of runs the other night where he actually slowed down to read the blockers, and then he went. And I got to tell you, you don't see that a lot in college football. And as it's happening, I'm going, did he just do that? He did. He did. Last one, hat tip to Zach Calzada on the sidelines, and you expect it. But when you got 2 guys competing for a job, one guy looks like he's lost a job. What is Zach Calzada doing on the sidelines? He's sitting with Cutler. He's looking at film. He's in his ear. He's trying to help. It's what you expect. But you know what? Come on. He's wanted to have this job at Kentucky for a final year on his way to the NFL. Looks like he's obviously lost it. And what is he doing? Trying to help his teammate. That's not good. It's absolutely beautiful. So another reason why I like Zach Calzada, but it's the Cutter Bowler era. And I got to tell you, last thing, if Kentucky was playing South Carolina at home and Zach Calzada would run on the field first, you know it'd be terrible? He'd be booed like crazy. And they wouldn't be booing him as much as they'd be booing Stoops, and it would be awful. Could you get away with it in South Carolina? Yes. Jimmy, last thing, real quick. It's 100-1 that Cutter starts, obviously being healthy, against South Carolina. Don't you agree? It's 100-1.
Yeah, I can't see a way that they go back to Calzada.
100-1?
Yeah.
You don't want to take the bet for $1, do you?
No.
Matthew and Jimmy tomorrow at 10. I'll be back at noon. Brad Taylor coming up next. Thank you for listening. Had a lot of fun. I love doing this. I love the comments from people as this thing is growing, and I appreciate you all listening. I really, really, really do. Have yourself a great day. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
Listen to the Alan Cutler